Coverage of the 2016 vice presidential debate.
Well, it's a great day out here, Ben. We're going to see... Trying to do a sportscaster voice there.
What do the two most boring things in the world have in common?
They're both old white guys?
I was going to say they're both in Farmville.
Oh. What,
Because that's where the debate's happening, in Farmville, Virginia.
Okay.
I guess maybe that wasn't as funny as I had it in, as it sounded in my head.
Well, don't worry. This is the vice presidential thing. Nobody's watching this one.
Except us, because we're geeks.
28 years ago, tomorrow night, Lloyd Benson said the vice
So,
presidential debate was not about the qualifications.
You know, honestly, I actually do hope Clinton wins and then dies and then Tim Kaine becomes president, because then he'll be so kind of weak, or he will not be a strong leader, meaning there will be a power vacuum, and hopefully the power would drift back to Congress where it belongs.
Right. I think I'm streaming. I'm not sure. Oh, shoot. It looks like my scoreboard got erased. That's no good.
This is a very special place. 65
All
years ago,
right, so let me fix my scoreboard.
Led a walkout of her high school, Moton High School. She made history by protesting schools.
I mean, she did bribe the teachers and everybody and deleted all the letters she sent. So
to the Brown versus Board of Education decision that moved us down the path of equality. I am so.
Are we actually streaming?
Yes, we are. That's why I welcomed everyone. Oh, we should introduce ourselves.
Well, you all know who I am.
That's
I'm fine. I'm Fritz Imperial.
That's Fritz Imperial.
Being safe in the world.
And I'm Ben McLean. This is my channel, so you know who I am.
Terrorism and climate change.
And
also to build a community of respect.
I'm just trying to get my scoreboard together.
That's why I'm so proud to be a
Kaine.
running mate. Hillary told me why she asked me to be her running mate. She said the test of a Clinton administration will not be the signing of a bill
Mike Pence.
or the passage of a bill.
He seems like a Claudius figure, like the Roman Emperor Claudius, that after you know, there's massive political purges and everybody else is dead, people will find him cowering behind a curtain, and he'll actually be a very effective leader.
You've been a missionary and a civil rights lawyer. You've been a city councilman and mayor. You've been a lieutenant governor and now a U.S. senator. I think you will help me figure out how to govern.
Any thoughts, Ben?
So that we always
I was just fixing my scoreboard.
The success of the administration is the
to
difference
remind
we
anyone
make
who wasn't
in people's
watching,
lives.
who
And that's
forgot, or who wasn't watching last time, this scoreboard keeps track of who is enhancing their political power by what they are saying or doing, and who's losing it. So these aren't truth points; these are Machiavelli points.
And
commit all your atrocities at once.
And the moderator also gets a score. But to make it clearer that the moderator isn't supposed to have points,
first off, thank you, Elaine.
I am
thank you to
pretty much
University for the
choosing
wonderful
to
hospitality of the Commission on Presidential Debates.
give them negative points instead of positive
Be surrounded
for the same
by
things.
my wonderful family. And
Just
Senator
so it's
Kaine.
clear
It's an honor to
visually
be here
that
with you.
the moderator
And
shouldn't
to
be getting points.
I want to be honest right here. I actually think
Also
these
wanna
two
say-
should
I
be
wanna say
the
thanks to
actual.
everyone that's looking
These two people seem to represent who actually should be running for president, like two level-headed, not extremely ambitious
For the
people.
last 7.5
You're
years,
right.
we've
I mean,
seen
they seem
America's
like the
place
kind
in
of
the
politicians that you can grow in a
We've seen the
vat.
economy stifle.
And
That might actually be a good thing. You don't want. I mean, do we really? I mean, Hillary Clinton is extremely. This has been her dream. She's been clawing her way to power for for decades.
So I want to thank all of you for being with us tonight.
yeah.
I also want to thank Donald Trump
So
for making that call and inviting us to be a part of this ticket.
So,
I'm a
do you
proud
look what they're
boy from a
NBC
place
News
not
is
too
putting on
different
the
from
side.
Farmville. I grew up with a cornfield. in
I
the
think they should
backyard.
put evangelical
My grandfather
Christian
had
at the
immigrated to
top,
this
don't
country
you?
When he was about my son's
I don't
age.
know.
Mom, Dad.
But I mean, again, I kind of miss this type of stuff. You know, the two old white guys just talking, just droning on and boring everybody. That's good. That's safe.
I know, like back before politics got completely insane, and we just had the normal
get
boring
fun.
robots running for president, and it was sort of like watching Rock'em Sock'em Robots, except that they never actually touched each other.
So to answer your question, I would say.
And the thing is, what could the media possibly say about Mike Pence? Be like, Oh, he's conservative and he's an evangelical. So, okay, what? So what?
He's a conservative evangelical stooge, is what they can say. But then that's true of every vice presidential candidate.
And that's to
So
bring a lifetime.
what else is new?
A lifetime growing up in a small town. A
So
lifetime where
his
serving in Congress
he's
of
talking
the
about
United
his
States,
lifetime
where
of
a lot of
service
state
or
works in the
whatever.
great state of Indiana.
Does he
And
get a
whatever
point for that?
responsibilities might follow
No.
from this,
Nah,
Well, I mean,
not
they
really.
both did that. They both, talk about what they've been doing. So
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't them trying to. This isn't. Yeah.
Senator Kaine, on the campaign trail, you praise Secretary Clinton's character, including her commitment to public service. Yet 60% of voters don't think she's trustworthy. Why do so many people distrust
They're all
her?
racist.
Is it because
Fop
they have
or
questions
dandy,
about
says the
emails
chat.
in the Clinton Foundation?
I don't know.
Which one's the
Let me
fop
tell
and
you
which
why I
one's the
trust Hillary
dandy?
Clinton. Here's what people
The
should
moderator.
look at as they look at a public
Oh.
servant. Do they have a passion in their life that showed up before they were in public life, and have they held on to that passion throughout their life, regardless of
This
whether
is
they
Pence
were in
talking,
office or
right?
not?
No, this is
Succeeding or
Kaine. I know it's hard to tell the
Hillary
difference.
Clinton has
Oh,
that passion.
see, I
From
thought
the time
Kaine
as a
looked
kid
like
in the
Orson
Methodist
Welles.
youth group in the suburbs of Chicago.
No, they're
She
wearing
has
the
been
wrong
focused on
ties.
serving
Tim
others
Kaine is
with a
Democrat,
special
but he's
focus
wearing a
on
red tie.
empowering families and
Well, that
kids.
makes sense. The
As a
Democrats have always
civil
been
rights lawyer
reds.
in the South with the Children's Defense Fund, First Lady of Arkansas, and this country's senator.
Oh, I noticed that this time they
Secretary
are
of
both
State, it's
wearing
always
tie
been about
pins
putting others first, and that's a sharp
of the
contrast
American flag.
with Donald
See,
Trump.
No,
last
Tim-
time,
Always
Tim
puts
Kaine's not
himself
an American
first.
flag.
He built a
what does
business
he have
career,
there?
in the words of one
I
of his
don't
own
know.
campaign staffers, off the backs of the
Okay,
little guy.
this
And as
looks like a
candidate,
job for
Oh,
Windows.
all right. I
his
think
campaign
Tim Kaine is
had a
doing
speech
something
where he
stupid.
called
Tim Kaine is
Mexicans
being
rapists and
stupid.
criminals,
What's he doing?
And he has pursued the
This looks like a
discredited
job for
and
Windows
really outrageous
magnifier.
lie that President Obama wasn't born in the United States. It is so painful to suggest
What
that we
is
go
that
back to think about
tie
these
pin?
days where an African American
It's like-
could not be
I guess it's just a
citizen of the United
generic-
States.
All right, he's calling people
Imagine
racist now.
how
Tim Kaine is
Governor
calling
Pence
everyone a
can defend the
racist.
insult-driven,
Yeah, I'm more interested
selfish
I kind of want to
Donald
listen to
Trump.
this for a sec.
Governor Pence, let me
Okay.
ask you, you have said Donald Trump is, quote, thoughtful, compassionate, and steady. Yet 67% of voters feel he is a risky choice, and 65% feel he does not have the right kind of temperament to be president. Why do so many Americans think
Okay,
Mr.
if she
Trump is
doesn't
simply too
ask-
erratic?
Let me say first
Let's just
and
listen to this
foremost
first.
that,
Okay.
Senator, you and Hillary Clinton would know a lot about an insult-driven campaign. It really is remarkable. At a time when literally, in the wake of Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, where she was the architect of the Obama administration's foreign policy, we see entire portions of the world, particularly the wider Middle East, literally spinning out of control. I mean, the situation we're watching hour by hour in Syria today is a result of the failed foreign policy and the weak foreign policy that Hillary Clinton helped lead in this administration and create. The newly emboldened the aggression of Russia, whether it was in Ukraine or now
You
their
guys love
heavy-handed
Russia.
approach.
You both
Their
have
heavy-handed
said-
approach.
You both have said Vladimir Putin is a
Gentlemen,
better
we're going to
leader
get to
than the
Russia
president.
in just
I think that's a
moment,
point
but I
for
do wanna get
Pence.
back to the
But in the
question
midst
What did he
of
do?
Elaine, thank you.
He's calling out on foreign policy in a very calm manner, and Tim Kaine is exploding.
We'll
How
get
can
to
they
that,
defend that?
Senator. We do have that coming up here. But in the meantime, the questions were
Senator, I
about
must have
your
hit a-
running mates.
I must have hit a nerve here
Why the
because
disconnect?
at a time of great
So
challenge in
that's
the
a
life of
point
this
for
nation,
Pence.
where
Yes.
we've weakened America's place in the world, stifled America's economy. The campaign of Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine has been
I'm
an
hoping
avalanche
that
of
eventually I
insults.
can
Look,
get my
to get to your
streaming
question
set
about
up to be a little more
trustworthiness,
sophisticated
Donald
so
Trump
that
has
I
a
don't
business
have chats
through
popping
hard
up
times and through
and
good times. He's brought an
having to
extraordinary business
run
acumen.
around and
He's
click on a
employed
bunch of
tens
stuff.
thousands of people in this
possibly
country.
exposing.
Did you
private
send the
info.
link out to other people?
But why
The link to get
disconnect
in?
with your running mates?
Yeah.
But there's
Oh, well, the
there's a
link
reason
to
why people
stream live with us only went
question
out
the
to flying in
trustworthiness of Hillary
people.
Clinton, and that's because
Okay.
they're paying attention.
Or in other words,
mean,
evil,
the reality
oppressive
is what the
Christian
Secretary of
theocracy,
State said.
world
Come
domination
on.
conspirators.
She had a
And Matt.
Clinton Foundation accepting contributions from foreign governments. and
You are
foreign
Donald Trump
donors.
supremacist. Let me talk about this.
You are Donald
This
Trump
is still on my
supremacist.
tongue.
Well, I think, isn't this a discussion?
This is our open
Let's
discussion.
talk
Donald
about
Trump
the
supremacist.
state.
I think
you
he
get
gets
me
a
I think-
point for
Let me
that.
interrupt you and finish my
No,
sentence if
I think
can.
that sounds
The
like
Clinton
it sounds
Foundation
stupid and
accepted
forced.
foreign contributions from foreign governments.
It made people. I think it made people laugh.
Okay, now
I don't think so.
Well, it sure made me laugh. I thought that was funny.
Which I did raise. Senator,
Keep that pay-to-play.
Maybe I should have a gaffle meter.
Governor Pence doesn't think the world sensuality, is going to say it's everybody's fault.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't worth the point, though.
When Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, Governor Pence, do you know that Osama bin Laden was alive?
Yes.
Do you know that we had 175,000 troops deployed in the battlefield in Iraq and Afghanistan? Do you know that Iran was racing toward a nuclear weapon and Russia was expanding?
They're still doing it.
Under Secretary
Still doing what?
Clinton's leadership, she was
They're
part
still
of the
racing towards a
national
nuke.
public safety
Oh,
team
yeah.
that went after and revived the dormant hunt against bin Laden and wiped him off the face of the earth. She worked to deal with the Russians to reduce their chemical weapons stockpile. She worked a tough negotiation with nations around the world.
George Soros got it.
To eliminate the Iranian nuclear weapons program.
Yeah,
without
that sounds
firing a
off.
shot.
Oh wait, no.
The Iranian nuclear.
Absolutely.
I accidentally
Without firing a
accidentally
shot.
clicked the microphone.
And instead of
So
175,000 American troops deployed overseas,
I really
we now
wish
have 15,000.
Right, and
someone would
and Iraq has been
let
also
us
run
know
by
that
ISIS.
they're able
Because
to.
Hillary
Shh,
Clinton
I wanna listen.
failed to renegotiate.
More American troops
Hillary
in Iraq.
Clinton,
You can propose that.
Hillary Clinton failed to renegotiate a status of forces agreement.
No, that is incorrect.
Gentlemen,
And so we removed
in
all of
just
our
a
troops from Iraq, and ISIS
I'd
was
like to
able to be
move on to
conjured
the
up in that
economy.
vacuum
But I'd like to
and
correct.
overrun vast areas of Iraq.
President Bush said we would leave Iraq at the end of 2011. And Elaine, Iraq didn't want our troops to stay, and they wouldn't give us the protection for our troops. And guess what? If a nation where our troops are serving does not want us to stay, we're not going to
I actually kind of agree with that.
Of the
We need to
Secretary of
move
State.
on to
Governor
the next
Pence wants to
topic,
put more
gentlemen.
troops
There are
back
a lot
in
of
Iraq,
people
that's
wondering in this country about the economy.
Right.
Let's turn to the
No,
issue
they're
of the economy.
just
According to
switching the
nonpartisan Committee
subject
for a
here.
responsible federal budget, neither of your economic plans will reduce the growing $19 trillion gross
She
national
didn't-
debt.
she hasn't
In
asked-
fact, your plans would add
She hasn't
even more
asked
to
Kaine
it.
about the
Both of
emails,
you were
has she?
governors who balanced state
No,
budgets.
'cause that hasn't
Are
come
you
up yet.
concerned
Why would she
that
ask
adding
him if
more to
she's
the
been
debt
put it in
could
his
be
pocket?
disastrous for the
Well,
country?
she
Governor
asked
Pence.
I think
Pence
the fact that,
about the
That under this
what
past
was it?
administration of which Hillary Clinton
People
was a
feeling
part, we
uncomfortable
almost
about
got
Trump.
well,
Well,
though, she also asked Kaine about people not feeling Clinton was honest.
Oh, she did. Okay, then she's doing okay so far.
Yeah.
We cut taxes. We made
She's
record
actually
investments
doing
in
okay so
education
far.
and
A solid
infrastructure.
0 points,
I
which
still
means
finished my
good
term
for
with $2
her.
billion
I think we're tied with 1 and
That's a
1
little
too
bit
with the
different
actual
than when
candidates.
Senator Kaine was governor here in Virginia.
Yeah.
He actually tried to
Tim
raise
Kaine did
taxes
something
by
good
about $4
earlier I
billion.
didn't give him a
He
point
left
for.
his state about $2 billion in the hole. The state of Indiana, we've cut unemployment in half.
yeah, it's 1 and 1.
When he was governor, but I think he's a very
Anyway, what
fitting
happened?
running
What
mate.
happened with
Oh,
WikiLeaks?
he's gonna burn her
In
him.
the wake of a season where American families are struggling in this economy, under the weight of higher taxes and Obamacare and
He's
the
giving
war
her-
on coal
never
and the
mind.
stifling avalanche of regulation coming out of this administration. Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine want more of the same. It really is remarkable that they actually are advocating $1 trillion in tax increases.
Yes,
which I
these are
just
still
said.
Machiavelli
We tried to
points.
raise taxes
They're
in
not
Virginia and we're
truth
unsuccessful.
points.
But $1 trillion in tax increases, more regulation, more of the same war on coal, and more of Obamacare that now even former President Bill Clinton calls Obamacare a crazy plan. But Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine want to build on Obamacare. They want to expand it into a single-payer program. And for all the world, Hillary Clinton just
everyone
thinks
else in the
Obamacare is
world.
a good start.
Just
Donald
like
Trump and I have a
Romneycare.
plan to get the economy moving again. Just the way
Soros
it
is a
worked in the
one-man
1980s,
Illuminati.
Just the way it worked in the 1960s.
That in the chat?
Yeah.
That is by lowering taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms, ending the war.
I've
on
actually
coal
been
that is
struggling to
hurting
figure out what to
jobs
make my
and
next
hurting
video
this
on.
economy here
I think I'm gonna make it on. I think I am gonna do it on
repealing
Christopher
Obamacare,
Hitchens
lock,
and why he
stock,
was an
and
idiot.
barrel, and repealing all of the executive orders
Yeah,
that Barack
well,
Obama has signed that are stifling.
It's his
Well,
followers.
I mean, I think-
it's his followers who are the real
Get
idiots.
America moving again. Put on top
Yeah, I
of
mean,
that
he was
the
an
kind of
eloquent
trade deals
speaker, but
that'll
he
put
didn't
the
actually have any
American
good
worker
arguments.
first, and you've
His
got
argument
to
was making religion
and
sound
you
absurd
get
by
the
calling it
economy
names.
growing, Elaine,
Yeah.
that's when you can deal with the national
I was going to do it on
debt.
Christy
Back to
Winters
3.5
making a video,
to
a
4%
BuzzFeed
growth
type
with
video, but
Donald
I'm
Trump's
sick
plan
of having to do having to talk about these BuzzFeed parodies, and also I'm not the audience she's addressing. You know, she's addressing somebody like Sargon, not me.
There's a fundamental choice for the American electorate. Do you want you're hired president in Hillary Clinton?
You're hired or you're fired.
Donald Trump.
He said that on the campaign trail.
I mean, state planned, central planning economy really works, doesn't it?
First thing we do is we invest in manufacturing infrastructure.
Invest
and
meaning
clean energy jobs.
The opposite of invest.
Expect the taxpayer to pay for it.
Yeah.
Remember Solyndra?
That's invest.
That worked out well.
And tuition-free college
you know,
for
I mean,
families that make less than $125,000.
Money,
trade schools. That pays lots.
Money issues aren't really what
working class,
motivate me to
if
vote.
struggling families want their kids to actually, women have equal pay for equal
We
work.
promote small business growth, just as we've done
Money
in
issues
Virginia.
aren't what really
To make it
motivate me
easier
to
start
vote,
and grow small
but
businesses, Hillary and I
Yeah,
have
I
to
don't
say,
care.
though,
I would rather be poor, but you know,
working in welding shops.
I'd rather be poor
have a
but not
cohesive
killing
society.
millions of babies in abortion clinics. You know,
Yes,
that's where I'm
like
coming from.
it's like
on how I
Sargon said,
vote.
like he'd be fine if there was a bad economy after Brexit. He says, you know, getting back control of Britain was more important.
There are certain long-term things that are more important than short-term money, prosperity. But I have to say that the Republicans do make a somewhat compelling case on that issue. And if I was going to be voting on that basis, then I would definitely vote Republican.
On what, economy?
On economy, yeah.
Well, I just look at the history of the both parties. The Republican and Democratic parties have pretty different histories. The Republicans have a very, very clean history, don't they? They're not. They haven't been known for being the party of eugenics, segregation, slavery, Jim Crow laws, and abortion, have they?
No. The worst thing they did was Watergate.
Yes. I mean, and yeah. And Clinton's far worse than that.
Yeah, except, you know, he only actually got caught with his pants down.
Wait, are either of them saying anything interesting? Let's listen.
Nah.
Nope.
He's just going on about the economy and how Donald Trump fires people and he's a big meanie and we need a president who hires people, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, what's happening with WikiLeaks?
Nothing.
What?
They had promised like a big news press release last night that, you know, they'd say something destructive about Clinton, and Julian Assange went on the little webcam and he says, yeah, we're not going to do it. He says, we're not going to release anything right now.
I thought it was tomorrow that they were doing that.
Nope, it was early morning and everyone got furious at them. Alex Jones was screaming.
$2 trillion in more spending.
I wonder whether that was because the source they had actually came up with.
I don't know. Well, I mean, the thing is, if that was their plan, they still say they're going to release stuff about the election. But you know, why didn't they just say so? Why make everyone wait up all night? I'm trying to restore my sleep schedule to something normal.
What, you actually stayed up for that?
Yes, and the perfect encapsulation of it was Willy Wonka going, "You get nothing, you lose."
Wow. Oh man, I would not have stayed up for that. But yeah, if WikiLeaks keeps pulling stunts like that, they're going to lose all their credibility and no one will pay attention anymore. It's like, this is like worse than The Boy Who Cried Wolf. This is The Boy Who Cried press release.
Absolutely, I will.
Governor, with all due respect, the question was about whether it seems fair to you that Mr. Trump said he brilliantly used the laws to pay his.
That's his whole point. It's like when they criticize him making stuff in Mexico, he's emphasizing why everything is corrupt. He's showing that it is corrupt.
By the way, let me know if you can hear my drum sounds.
Public servants.
You hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Awesome.
You need the trumpets to go dun 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 dun. Wow.
Well, I have my classic '80s keyboard here, but unfortunately I don't have a mixer, so I'd have to actually physically switch out the wires.
It's fine. It's fine.
Get input from that. I'm working on building up my equipment, and
there's 193,000 people watching this debate. Why? It's
You know, we actually have a much better ratio than we had last time, because last time we had about 5 viewers watching us live. It looks like now we have at least 3. And compared to 200,000, that's much better than 5 compared to 1 million, you know?
Yeah.
This whole riff about not paying taxes and
anyway, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the stuff we have to say is going to be a lot more interesting than what either of these clowns have to say.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
here's my
actually,
thing about
these guys aren't as much clowns as the actual candidates. These are more sort of robot clones of the standard politician.
Trump started this campaign in 2014. He said, if I run for president, I will absolutely release my taxes.
I bet if you looked under the back of their shirt, you'd see that both of them are powered by double A's.
Marco Rubio was the robot. He was the one that repeated things 50 times.
That makes him smart. So it's smart not to pay for our military. It's smart not to pay for veterans. It's smart not to pay for teachers. And I guess all of us who do pay for those things,
because Donald Trump doesn't care. And Hillary Clinton cares.
Governor Pence had to give Donald Trump his tax returns to show he was qualified to be vice president. Donald Trump
the scoreboard just isn't going to be as interesting this time.
Because
I mean, you know, the points didn't matter the first time, but now the points really don't matter.
I'll be very respectful. Look, Donald Trump has filed over 100 pages of financial disclosure, which is what the law requires.
But yeah, the tax returns, and I have to say,
he's going. Senator,
all right,
he's going to release his tax returns and the audit
Social Security.
Now, here's what I'm wondering. Is he going to release his tax returns before or after the campaign finance reform limits on when new ads can be introduced?
I don't know.
See, that's what I think Trump's doing. He's going to release his tax returns after it's no longer allowed to put out new political ads. By the way, that entire concept that we're going to limit free speech right before an election when we need free speech the most is blatantly opposed to the basic idea of a free society.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I think a lot of the cultural libertarians and people that hold true to the American government fail to understand is that starting with Obama and it's going to happen with Clinton is since they'll have complete 100% control of the government, the media, and education, they're going to start to saying, well, basically giving the middle finger to people who are actually liberal and going, well, you know what? We don't really care about the ideas of free speech anymore. We're going to violate the Constitution and we don't care. What are people going to... And the thing is, there's nothing anyone can do about it. There's not a single thing people can do about it.
Well, we can cling to our religion and guns, which is what we are doing.
All right, so we have. So basically, what's going to happen is what Kennedy said, which is those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. We're going to have another civil war.
Yep, pretty much.
All right, I'm fine with. I would join the rebels. I join a group. People. You know, I think a great example of when people say, "Hey, you can't have a gun." What happens when the army comes against you? What happened when it happened in Vietnam? A few 10,000s of rice farmers with AK-47s managed to get the U.S. to withdraw from Vietnam.
Well,
that's what this campaign
I
is
really don't think that anything that Viet Cong did really determined that. I think it was a bunch of junk happening back here that really.
But it was an unpopular war, and
yeah, I mean, America really had no will to fight in Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole point. And because you know, you had uncensored Vietnam war footage, it was just
by $1 trillion, increased by $2 trillion.
You had the uncensored war footage, so people could see what was happening, and people did not like it. The thing is, you know, we lost 60,000 in Vietnam, and we lost over 400,000 in World War II. There's no way we were ever going to let up in World War II. Considering, we were in a war, you know, the war started in which we were attacked, and war was directly declared on us by Germany, Japan, and Italy, and, you know, Hitler was kind of trying to take over the world.
Oh boy, here we go.
He didn't do nothing. He had Skittles.
This is what I want to.
All right, let's hear.
I just think that a big giant Pepe frog is going to hop right onto her head here.
Not enough drug addiction funding. Schools fail.
Drug addiction funding?
Do we ask too much of police
funding
officers
to
in this
increase
country?
drug addictions?
And
Is
how
that what
would you
that is?
specifically address the chief's
Funding drug
concerns?
addictions.
I want to hear
I think
this.
that's a very fair comment. I think we put a lot on police shoulders, and this is something I got a lot of scar tissue and experience on. I was a city councilman and mayor in Richmond, and when I came in, we had one of the highest homicide rates in the United States. We fought very, very hard over the course of my time in local office with our police department, and we reduced our homicide rate nearly in half. And then when I was governor of Virginia, we worked hard too. And we did something we had really wanted to do. For the first time ever, we cracked the top 10 safest states because we worked together. Here's what I learned as a mayor and a governor. The way you make communities safer and the way you make police safer is through
to build a wall.
Build the bonds between the community.
Actually, a good idea. That, that's what they have in Japan. And you know what the homicide rates in Japan are? Among the lowest on earth. The only problem is Japan also has one of the highest suicide rates in the world.
And it's safer for the police. That model still works
Japan's
across
crazy.
our country. But there are some
Yeah, but I mean, they're an example of why I'd be fine if we can get a murder rate down to Japan levels. I'd be fine with getting rid of guns.
Around the country. That would be a big mistake. Because
Well,
it
I wouldn't for
polarizes
the
relationship
aforementioned
between
political
police
reasons.
and the community. So here's what we'll do. We'll focus
The thing
on
is,
community
I think the problem though is we
couldn't
don't have the same.
actually defeat the U.S. government in a one-on-one fight between the people and the U.S. government. But what we could do is the same thing that happened to the U.S. government in Vietnam, which is
A guerrilla war.
just a guerrilla war that really
Demoralizes. And the thing is,
heavily
here's the thing
demoralizes
is
them.
and here's the thing is, I imagine we might be getting the rebels would be getting some shiny Russian equipment, Russian and Chinese equipment.
Now that would be crazy.
No, seriously, I think there's nothing.
I'm
the
not
Russians
saying
and
I'm not
Chinese-
saying it wouldn't happen. I'm just saying it would be crazy.
And here's the
Crazy
thing,
things
the
happen
Chinese
every time.
could
I mean,
Chinese could
Donald
crack
Trump
the-
is running for president. Crazy things happen all the time in this timeline.
Yeah, we have to go back in time to where it's skewed. I think it was 1914.
Every time you always bring up World War I.
Well, it's the start of all this madness.
Governor Pence.
My uncle was a cop.
And he killed a bunch of black people because he just couldn't stand them.
In downtown Chicago. He was my hero when I was growing up. And we
Who
go up to
was?
visit my dad's family. In
No,
Chicago.
I'm joking. He's
Who was his hero?
his uncle, who was a cop.
Oh, right. So he's basically hashtag Blue Lives
Are
Matter.
the best of us.
Yes.
And that
Right.
men and women, white, African American, Asian, Latino,
Hey.
Hispanic, they put their lives on the line.
But
every
doesn't the whole
single
story of these two
And let me
is
say,
just told through their tie pins?
day. At the risk of
Yes.
I mean,
And they're just the way they, and just, they're old white guy politicians. They're the most, the most bland and safe options you could have for an American election.
well, yeah.
And I'm not a leftist that hates white people. I'm just saying, these are generally these are who the presidential candidates would have been in decades gone by.
Yeah, and I was going to say, though, Citizen Kaine over on the left has a completely generic tie pin, while
It's white. He just gave up.
while Mike Pence over on the right has the American flag.
I have a nice small collection of flag pins myself. I've got Wales. I've got New York State. I've got a bunch of other countries. I have Yemen, and I also have a big flag of Yemen in my room. But because if you flip it upside down, it's the flag of the German Empire from before World War I.
always freaking World War I with you, isn't it? I was gonna say though, the point
Who
is,
is who's the avatar on my channel?
there are people who work for these big presidential campaigns who make every tiny little decision about the appearance of the candidates when they show up on TV like this. Someone was paid a pretty hefty amount of money to decide what kind of tie pin these guys were going to wear.
implicit
one of them
bias
was.
in law enforcement.
Well, no, both of them.
That there's implicit bias.
See, last time on Monday,
I just think what we ought to do.
Donald Trump was wearing an American
Right,
flag
I think
tie
he's making a good point.
The public that will have a full and complete and transparent investigation whenever there's a loss of life because of police action. But Senator, please, enough of this seeking every opportunity to demean law enforcement broadly by making
Elaine,
the accusation of implicit bias every time tragedy occurs.
Elaine, people shouldn't be afraid to bring up issues of bias in law enforcement. And if you're afraid to have
I'm not afraid to bring that up.
If you're afraid to have the discussion, you'll never solve it.
Oh, I think Tim Kaine might get a point with this because he took a great moment by Pence
he
to
absolutely flipped
and then he
that.
completely he turned it around and made it look like
An excellent example of complete sophistry, but it was effective
And he was
sophistry.
killed.
So.
give him a point.
Apparent reason. And
Yeah,
an
so now
incident
it's
that will be
2-1.
discussed and will be
Anyway, I was
investigated.
going to say
But when folks
Clinton
went and
had
explored
no
this situation,
American
what
flag
they found
stuff,
is that
and
foreign
Trump did have
investigator who
American
was
flag
they
stuff.
called him
And then this
Mr.
time
Rogers with
it's the
dreadlocks
same
in the
thing,
school
except
kids loved
this
him.
generic
But he had
tie
been
pin,
stopped
it's like
by
they
police
went out of their
40 or
way
50
to decide to
before
not
that
have an
fatal
American
incident.
flag
And if
tie
you look
pin.
at sentencing in this
They
country,
decided
African
we're going to
Americans,
have a
Latinos get
generic
sentenced for the same
tie pin
crimes at very
just to
different
make the
rates.
point that we're not putting American flags everywhere.
We do.
Indiana has passed criminal
But I
justice
just want to say, those
So
who say
I might,
we
isn't it interesting that it seems whatever political direction America is in, Europe starts to swing the opposite. So like under the Bush administration, when you had the neocons running everything, Europe went hard left and extreme anti-war and hating Americans and being we're the enlightened Europeans. Oh yes. And then now because of Islam and America is becoming more and more left wing. Europe's going to swing hard right in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Apparently a few days ago,
what's the moderator saying?
Merkel.
Hang on.
He said, I have felt the anger, the frustration, the sadness, and the humiliation that comes with feeling like you're being targeted.
She's
for nothing
pushing
more
the
than
emotional,
being just yourself.
touchy-feely
Give her a
Black
point.
Lives
Give
Matter
her a
stuff.
point. Give her a point.
Yeah, that's
The
probably a
deepest respect
minus
for
point
Senator
on
Scott.
her.
And he's a close friend.
Oh, okay.
And what I would say is that
Because, like I said, the moderator's getting negative points just to emphasize that the moderator shouldn't even hardly be noticed in these discussions.
Anyways, what I was saying is Merkel was in Dresden or Leipzig a couple days ago, and what she did, and that's where Pegida, that's kind of where the anti-Islam movement was born. And you literally had people screaming and yelling at her and chanting in the streets, Merkel muss weg, which is the slogan "Merkel must go."
Let's not have the reflex of
And another point, a few months ago, when another German bigwig was in another town, he started yelling at the people, saying they're all a bunch of rabble rousers, and then they chased him off the stage. In France, when the Prime Minister of France went to Nice after the terrorist attack and said we should all have to live with terrorism, like tens of thousands of people were screaming and booing at him.
assert a stronger leadership.
The thing is with I think what it's so evident with the European elite is that they're completely out of touch with what the average actual Europeans are thinking and feeling. I think it's not. I don't think it's a case of them being malicious. I think it's trying to be overly. They're not doing this because they think it's a good idea. They're doing it. They don't understand the effect it's having because these people live in these extremely posh, segregated neighborhoods. They don't have to live with the migrants.
Donald Trump during this campaign is called
Yeah.
Mexicans rapists and criminals. He's called women,
Oh,
slobs,
no.
pigs, dogs, disgusting. I don't like saying that in front of my wife.
I do like saying it in front of my sister, though.
I'll say it in front of the entire country, though.
Unqualified to hear a federal lawsuit because his
I will drone strike children.
Just not in front of my wife.
Hey, Hillary Clinton is going to drone strike people, so.
Yeah, either one would drone strike people.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that the president has the ability to do that. I do not think that's legal or just.
You can't have somebody at the top.
I think that sounds
who demeans
pretty
everything he
dictatorial.
talks about. And I cannot believe that Governor Pence will defend the insult-driven campaign that Donald Trump has run.
All right, I want to turn to our next segment now,
kind of
immigration.
a creepy thing.
Your running mates have both said
Now that
undocumented immigrants who have committed violent crimes should be deported. what would you tell the millions of undocumented immigrants who have not committed violent crimes?
No habla español.
Donald Trump's laid out a plan to end illegal immigration once and for all in this country. We've been
we annex Mexico.
I guess that would do it. That would do it.
Open borders.
They did think about doing that in the Mexican Wars because we did make it all the way into Mexico City and capture. We were occupying most of the country, but we were thinking about politicians back in Washington were thinking about making Mexico part of the U.S. But obviously, it would have been a massive amount of territory. We'd had to have occupying forces there for decades, and they didn't speak our language. They didn't, they were not, part of the kind of American culture in any way.
History of immigrations and customs enforcement. Their union actually endorsed Donald Trump as the next president of the United States because they know they need help to enforce the laws of this country. And Donald Trump has laid out a priority to remove.
I really wish it was Ben Carson on this, because then I could really fall asleep.
And once we have accomplished all of that.
Ben,
I guess. I kind of liked Carson for a while, but he kind of went off message and then further and further off message, and then
I have to tell you,
kind of dug himself a hole.
Donald says, hold on a second.
It's my time, Senator.
It is, in fact, the governor's time.
This is your 2 minutes.
Thanks, I forgive you. He says,
I think you should give her a point for that, for doing something correct.
Did you all just hear that?
To get her back to zero.
That gets her back
to be honest with you,
wrong
Donald Trump
button.
had said all the things that you said.
She goes back to 0 points where she should be.
He still wouldn't have a fraction of the insults that Hillary Clinton leveled when she said that half of our supporters were a basket
Give him a
of
point.
deplorables. She said they were irredeemable.
Yeah, Pence gets a point
they
for
were
that.
Not American. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Although if Tim Kaine can flip that, give him 2 points if he can do that.
Yeah, I don't think you.
That would legitimately impress me.
I don't think he's going to be able to. I think he's going to.
Well, actually, no. He's going to ignore it.
He's going to ignore it and just go on to the next subject because there's no answering that. I mean,
Senator
half of Donald Trump's supporters a basket of deplorables.
Hillary Clinton said something on the campaign trail, and the very next day she said, "You know what? I shouldn't have said that."
She said she shouldn't have said half.
Governor, this is Senator Kaine's 2 minutes, please.
she said she shouldn't have said.
Look for Donald Trump apologizing to John McCain for saying he wasn't a hero.
Oh my God, he flipped it.
Calling women slobs, pigs, dogs, disgusting.
He actually
apologized for saying
Governor,
what?
his 2 minutes,
I don't
please.
think so.
Did Donald Trump apologize for taking after somebody in a Twitter war and making fun of her weight? Did he apologize for saying African Americans?
He's just listing various things.
See, I love it when they do this. Is like Trump will go, African Americans are living in really bad situation, and then all the progressives will go, "That's horrible. How dare you say that about them?" But as soon as he's not saying that, they're all going, "African Americans are being killed by the police all the time. They're living in terrible conditions." So basically, only progressives are allowed to dictate how African Americans can live.
Keeping families together is the top goal. Second, that
keeping families together is the top goal. Hillary's
so
going to do that. Really?
So why not outlaw divorce and get rid of gay marriage?
Hillary's not going to be doing that in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I think he's obviously talking about immigrants, illegal immigrants, saying don't deport, you don't split up land.
Oh, I see. I thought he was talking about the black community, where we actually need some action to be taken on the front of keeping families together.
They want to eliminate that. That's another 4.5 million people. These guys, and Donald Trump has said it, deportation force. They want to go house to house.
Now, I do have to say, I was a Republican most of my life until this year,
and I cannot believe,
because of Trump.
I cannot believe
and
that Governor Pence
a lot of my Republican friends have always, for years, seemed to have this idea that we're going to,
Senator, we have a
if we can
deportation
pass
force, it's called
certain laws or whatever, we're going to be able to get a bunch of guns and a bunch of buses and round up all the Mexican people and load them onto the buses with the guns, and then drive down to Mexico and empty out the buses, and that's going to solve our problems. And no, that's first of all never going to happen, and second of all, even if it did happen, that would never actually work.
We all know the routine.
And So
amnesty.
this idea that
One
we're
of the
just going to
last things he
deport
mentioned
all
was
the
border
illegal
security.
aliens
That's how
in
Washington
the
always
U.S.
plays it.
No, we're not doing that.
Here's what I would do, honestly. I think, obviously I would be for building the wall. I would be for securing the border. Honestly, you don't even need a wall. You just need a border patrol agent every mile with a gun and can fire a warning shot.
Forcibly removed?
Well, I think Donald Trump laid out a series of priorities.
Or a
It doesn't
wall.
end with border security. It begins with border security.
I'm not sure how to solve the
after we
problem
secure
with
the
illegal
border,
immigration.
not only build
Let Mexico
I
have
do-
those. Let Mexico have California.
internal enforcement, but he said the
Well,
They can have it.
I wanted to finish my sentence. I was
Sure.
going to say, I'm not sure how to solve that problem,
We just had a conversation
but
about
I know we're not going to be deporting all the illegal immigrants. That's just not going to happen. So
Deport
the
deport the
Republicans
criminals
need to
first.
come down to earth and
people that came into
have
this country illegally
a real
are now
idea on
involved
that.
in criminal
They're going to be like
enterprise
Cenk
activity,
Uygur and say,
and we
have a
need the
reasonable
resources
discussion.
or the will to
Well,
deport them systematically. Donald Trump has said we're going to move those
They
people out.
have what I'd
People
call a
who
fantasy
overstayed their
policy,
visas,
you
we're
know,
going to enforce
something that
the law of this
politicians
country.
talk
We're gonna
about, but which
strengthen
would never
immigration
really
and
happen
customs
because it's
enforcement
just
with
too
more
extreme,
resources
and they
and
only
more
say it
personnel to be
to
able
sort of
to do that. I think Donald Trump is
excite,
very clear.
you know,
Once
their
we've done
base,
all of
but
those things,
We can secure the border at least.
yes, that
And
point,
I think, and we
that
can
is a
obviously,
point
and I
that
think,
the
and I think,
Republicans make that's okay.
and I think,
but the
and I
idea
think
that we're going to have
immigrants.
mass deportation,
Yeah.
no, that's
And
not
I
going to
think,
happen.
but we can deport criminals. We can deport
Criminals, yeah, yes.
Yeah, and that's that's obviously the
meaning
most
people
important
who
people that
break
should be.
laws other than the obvious
And if
one
you
of
are
entering
discovered
the
to,
country
and the thing is,
illegally.
if you are discovered to be an illegal immigrant, then you can be deported. But don't go out hunt. You can't just go out hunting for them.
Yeah, yeah. And
Because that makes you look like the SS.
yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying.
I know we're all conservatives now. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
I have to go take care of my wife's son now.
Who, you?
Yeah, I have to take care of my wife's. They're called. I think people would call our idea being conservatives because we're not for hardcore deport all illegal
Oh,
immigrants.
okay. I thought you were being literal for a second.
No, I don't have a wife. I don't have. The last thing I would ever do is be a cuck. I would remain a virgin for my entire life.
Well, look, just because
before I'm raising a wife.
Just because you have a stepson doesn't make you a cuck. It could be you married a
No,
widow.
yeah, honestly. Okay, here's the thing.
Anyway, I was gonna say Kaine
marrying
gets
a
a point for
Gentlemen, I'd like to shift now to the
calling
threat of terrorism.
Pence out on that
Do you
whole
think
mass
the world
deportation
today is a
thing.
safer or more dangerous
So it's 2-2
place than it
now?
was 8
It's
years
3-2.
ago? Has the
Okay.
terrorist threat increased or decreased? Senator Kaine.
The terrorist threat has decreased in some ways because bin Laden is dead. The terrorist threat has decreased in some ways because an Iranian
Let's build the
nuclear
wall,
weapons
then
program
start
has been stopped.
catapulting the
The
legals
terrorist
over.
threat
We
to
could sell
United
tickets.
States troops has been decreased in
No,
some
flip
ways
all. Go have the
That's
CIA
from the
go.
chat. That's not my idea. That's from the chat.
Have the here's a good idea, chat. Go into Mexico. Have the CIA go into Mexico. Go to all the roads and flip the signs around. So when the illegals go, they're going the wrong way.
Hillary Clinton was the senator from New York.
They end up in Yucatan with all the Mayan pyramids and stuff.
Someone from the chat says that the U.S. annexing Mexico would be cruelty to Mexico.
She's got a plan to do it. She was part of the national
Yes.
security team. That
Well, what
went
happens
down
then
to
when you
Guam.
have all the Guatemalans
Here's her plan
crossing
to
the border
defeat ISIL.
illegally?
First, we got to keep taking out their leaders on the battlefield.
I don't know. They say we have to build a wall.
And she'll lead the team that will
I
get
guess we'll have
overthrown
to just
by
conquer
God
the
in
whole
heaven
world
from
then.
ISIS. Second, we got to
Wait, we already did that.
financing networks.
Oh, yeah,
disrupt
you're
their
right.
ability to recruit on the internet in their safe havens. But fourth, we also have to work with allies to share and surge intelligence. That's the Hillary Clinton plan. She's got the experience to do it. Donald Trump. Donald Trump can't start a Twitter war with Miss Universe without shooting himself in the foot. Donald Trump doesn't have a plan.
Snap.
He said,
I think
I
that
have a
gets
secret plan.
Citizen
and then he
Kaine
said,
gets a point.
no more than all the generals about ISIL. And then he said,
Maybe
I'm gonna
after
call
the
generals
witch
to help me
coughs
figure out a
herself to
plan.
death, he
And
might
finally
actually
he
be
said,
a
"I'm gonna fire
relatively
all the
smart
generals."
president
He doesn't
for
have
a
plan.
Democrat.
But he does have dangerous ideas. Here's four.
Do you
He
think
trash
Clinton
talks
is
the
going to die
military.
during her
The
presidency?
military's a disaster.
I have
John
no
McCain's
idea.
no hero. The generals
I don't
are
want to
the
say anything because I don't want
environmental
the CIA to
He
kill me.
wants to
But
tear up alliances. NATO is obsolete.
Oh,
and
giving
will only work
California
together
to
with
Mexico
Israel
would
if
be
they
cruelty
pay
to
big
Mexico.
wage. Third, he
That
wants
Yeah.
actually,
He's got
yeah,
kind of a
they have a
personal
point
Mount
there.
Rushmore. Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Muammar Gaddafi,
come
and
on.
Saddam Hussein. And last and most dangerously, Donald Trump
Okay,
believes
Tim Kaine or
Donald
Pence
Trump
loses a point for
believes
laughing.
that the world
That's
will be safer
stupid. Don't.
if more
I
nations
don't
have nuclear
know.
weapons. He said
No,
Saudi
I
Arabia
remember
should do it,
last time
Japan should do it,
Biden did
Korea
it,
should
and
do
it was
when he was
insufferable and
confronted
annoying.
with this,
Yeah,
he said, wait a minute,
but
terrorists could get those.
it makes him look a
Proliferation
little
could lead
bit.
to
The way
nuclear
he
war.
did that just
Here's what
now,
Donald
it
Trump
makes
said,
him
and
look
I
a little
quote,
bit more like a
"Go ahead,
regular
folks,
guy.
Enjoy yourselves."
And
I'd love to hear Governor Pence tell me what's so enjoyable.
I don't think
or
he loses a
comical
point
about
for that,
nuclear
but he
war.
certainly doesn't gain
Governor
one.
Pence.
Let's see what he
Did you
says
work on that
now.
one a long time? Because that had a lot of really creative lines in it.
Well, I'm going to see if you can defend any of it.
Look, I can defend. I can make it very clear to the American people. After traveling millions of miles as our Secretary of State, after being the architect of the foreign policy of this administration, America is less safe today than it was the day that Barack Obama became President of the United States. It's absolutely inarguable. We've weakened America's place in the world. It's been a combination of factors, but mostly it's been a lack of leadership.
Bring up the terrorist attacks.
I
Bring
will give
up
you,
the
and
terrorist
I
attacks.
was in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's what
on
he should
9/11.
do.
I saw the clouds.
On,
of
oh
smoke
no!
rise from
Now
the
we've
Pentagon.
I was
got
in Virginia, where the Pentagon
now we've got the
We
Trump
all
campaign
went through
doing
that.
what
There was a
everybody
nation
thought
that was
the
heartbreaking.
Clinton campaign was going to
And I
do.
wanna
It's
give
going.
this president,
I was there
credit,
with the
for bringing,
people on 9/11.
Osama
I
bin
was there at
Laden
3 a.m. in the
to
morning.
justice.
9/11
But the
was
truth is,
bad,
Osama bin
and I
Laden
was
led
there with the
The primary
people.
threat today is ISIS.
And
And
it's
because
like,
Hillary Clinton failed to negotiate a status of forces agreement
Mission
that
accomplished.
would have allowed some
What, you think
American
he
combat
actually-
troops to
No,
remain in
it was
Iraq and
the Bush
secure
thing, the infamous Bush
hard-fought
thing, where he was
gains
standing on the
American
carrier
soldiers
with the
had
mission
won
accomplished sign.
by
Oh.
2009.
I want to see one of
Literally
Emperor
conjured
Palpatine
up
after
out of the
after
desert
Alderaan's
these
been blown up and going
vast
mission
areas
accomplished.
that the American soldier had won. in
Oh
Operation
come
Iraqi
on!
freedom. My
President
heart
Bush
breaks.
wasn't Emperor Palpatine.
No, it's obviously
he was
not.
much more of a Jabba the Hutt kind of
He
guy.
fell in Fallujah
Who?
in 2005.
Bush.
No, George
He
W.
fought
Bush was
hard.
more like a
Some of the most difficult days in Operation
I don't
Iraqi
know.
freedom.
He was certainly not an idiot, but he
I
was.
think he was closer to Jabba the Hutt than
to
Emperor
defend our
Palpatine.
freedom and
No, that was
security.
I mean,
Howard.
particularly
That was
since-
Howard Taft. That was
Particularly
Howard.
since the Hutts are,
Barack
you know,
Obama
hereditary.
failed to provide a status
That would
of
be the
forces
Kennedys,
agreement and
then.
leave sufficient troops in there. We are
Kennedys
back
and the
at
Bushes,
war.
they're-
president
The
just ordered
Clintons.
more troops on the
They're
ground.
mirror images of
We
each
are
other.
back at war in Iraq, and Scott Zabowski, whose
Bush
mom
was
would
Jar
always come to
Jar.
Memorial Day
No,
of
Bush
Lincoln
was
Cassidy,
Darth
Indiana,
Jar
to see
Jar.
me, and I'd always give her a hug.
No, Bush
and tell
was,
her we're never going to forget our son, and we
I don't
never
know.
will.
Trump
Scott
will
Zabowski.
make
Who the hell is
America
Scott
Great
Zabowski?
Britain again.
Squandered in Iraq
Actually, I
because
think
this administration
Clinton is
created a
closer to
vacuum
doing
in which
that.
ISIS was able to
What,
grow.
making us
In
Britain?
reference to the
Yeah,
Iranian
because,
bill,
you know,
the Iranian
All
bill
right, here's the thing.
keeping all the power in the same
$150
family.
billion
Stopping a
to the
nuclear
radical-
weapon.
Here's the problem: is that
Down
you
the
have these
shot.
political
Stop the
dynasties
nuclear
seizing all
weapons.
this control.
You
Even the
essentially
Israeli
Freaking
the
John
problem-
Adams and John Quincy Adams.
that Iran will someday
Here's the
become a
pro-
nuclear
don't
power
diss
because
John
there's no
Adams.
limitation
I'm just joking.
once
He's
the
one of my
period of time
favorite
of the treaty
I know.
comes
founding
off.
fathers.
The thing is, the problem with the dictators is that as opposed to monarchs, is monarchs have this tradition. They have this extreme deep-seated tradition that this is my do. It's not your For them, it's a duty to rule.
Oh, by the way, folks, Fritz Imperial here is a monarchist.
What specific tools
Where
Ideally.
I'm just a
those
cynic.
kinds of attacks?
Diogenes.
Well, I mean, a cynic about our current political system.
But it really does begin with
I would like to be a
reforming our
constitutionalist,
immigration
but
system and putting the interests, particularly the safety
That
of
didn't work out too well.
people first.
well,
Donald
That
Trump
worked for a while.
oh, it's worked for a while.
I mean, the thing is, the founding fathers didn't.
Nothing is going to stand up to the deconstructionism. Doesn't matter what you write.
Yeah, the thing is, the founding fathers didn't count on the fact that people in the future would just say, "Yeah, I don't really care what the Constitution says."
The Syrian refugee
Yeah,
program.
I mean,
emanations-
emanations from penumbras was not in their vocabulary.
Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine want to increase the Syrian refugee
The
program.
Bushes are the Kennedys without the STDs.
Homegrown.
Yeah, I could see that.
First, let's make sure we're putting
Sure.
the safety and
That makes
security
sense.
Well, you know who my favorite president was Eisenhower.
Instead of you violating
Yeah,
the
well, I was going to say the
Constitution
Clintons
by
are the
blocking people based on
Kennedys
their national
without the
origin rather than
intelligence.
whether they're dangerous.
Because the Kennedys,
No,
That's what
the Kennedys had
Clinton is a
all
genius,
kinds
okay.
of, the Kennedys had all kinds of women.
They're talking
all
about
over
the
place
refugees.
all the time, and then never got caught.
Dangerous. These guys say all Mexicans are bad.
Okay,
And with respect
Clinton
to- and
All right,
got
wait, I want to hear
caught.
what they say about the
we want to
refugees.
keep people
Oh,
out
okay.
if they're dangerous. Donald Trump said, keep them out if they're Muslim. Mike Pence put a program in place to keep them out if they're from Syria. And yesterday, an appellate court with 3 Republican judges.
What about Harris?
Oh,
remember that? Remember
I'm sorry, Kaine gets another point.
Danger, not upon discrimination.
Elaine, to your point, those judges said it was because there wasn't any evidence yet.
Oh, you're digging yourself in the hole, Pence.
ISIS had infiltrated the United States.
He's trying to use facts and reason and stuff, and that doesn't work.
Well, I know this ISIS, but they told you
it's not how it
Bill
works.
Clinton was the first black president. I know, right? Everyone says Obama was the first black president, but I was a kid in the 90s, and I remember that Bill Clinton was the first black president.
No, that's not what history. This is what history doesn't tell you. We had our first black president was before George Washington.
But Governor Pence,
And then they whitewashed it. Actually, no, all the founding fathers were black. We was kings.
We was kangs.
Can we just be clear? Hillary and
Here's the problem.
I remember there was a joke in the 90s about a politician who goes to the
based on discriminating against you from the country you come from or the
one of the
religion.
people I invited to this stream is trying to bother me with junk about, do you play Diablo 3?
No.
On Google Hangouts while I'm live streaming the live stream that I invited him to.
Blizzard sucks.
And when we don't let them know.
No, they don't. StarCraft is awesome.
When we don't know who they are, we don't let them in.
The FBI
Their other
and
games do
Homeland
kind of
Security
suck,
said,
though.
we can't know for certain. You've got to err on the side of the safety and security of the American people, Senator.
Anyway,
trashing all Syrians,
trashing
all Muslims.
Senator Kaine, let me ask you this.
a white leftist politician in the 90s was in a room with the NAALCP
and
the NAACP.
The NAALCP.
What's the L stand for?
Leftist.
2 things, Elaine. It's 2 things. It's first, dramatically expanding our
he said,
intelligence capacity,
well, I may
hiring
look
great
white,
professionals,
but my
also
heart's as
we've got some
black
of the
as
best
anyone
intel
here.
and cyber employees in the world right here in the United
That's
States.
like-
working for many of our
I mean, Hillary Clinton would be able to say that accurately.
increase on our own workforce, but striking great partnerships with some of our cyber
Hillary-
experts.
It's amazing how humans just aren't designed to be good at deception. We always reveal what's really going on. Eventually, people.
No, what are you talking about? We have to expose the new world order. You're all fighting against it.
People always show what they really think, on their face or little cues. We're either created or evolved or both to communicate everything that we're thinking and feeling, really. And
push aside your
Tim Kaine is a very good.
Every now and then, a
Kaine's-
politician will say something like that, where it's just yes.
She broke the sanctions regime around the world that stopped the Iranian.
If only
nuclear
Milo
weapons
was around in the
program.
Clinton
And that's what an
administration,
intelligence
him
surge
being the
means.
first black
Better
president.
skill
and
and
all.
capacity, but also better alliances.
All right, I'd like
I've
to
got
turn
more
now
black
to
in
the
me than
tragedy in
than you
Syria.
guys do.
Well, there was a provocateur back then who did.
You can have 30 seconds,
Who was it?
Governor.
Oh, George Carlin?
Rush
No.
Limbaugh.
First,
Oh, okay.
Rush Limbaugh was the big political provocateur in the 90s.
But leftist media, I don't think I can do his voice,
cyber warfare
are trying to.
He'd say liberal media. Everything was liberal to him.
No, that shift has only kind of happened recently when people go, well, no, you have progressives who are actually the legitimately evil, insane ones, and then liberals who are just, yeah, I'm left wing, but I don't want to take away people's freedom.
Well, all the bad guys were called liberals on the Rush Limbaugh show in the 90s.
All right, Governor, 30 seconds
About
is up.
drone strikes.
So.
Oh, he's talking about emails.
President of the United States of America were on there.
Right.
Her private server was subject
Governor,
to being hacked by
I'd like to ask you about
Oh
could put-
no!
we could
The
put cyber
moderator's
security
trying to
first.
interrupt
Just make sure
him
the next
so
secretary
that
doesn't
he won't talk about the email.
But we don't,
She
Governor. We
gets
don't
a
talk.
minus. She gets a minus point for that.
Decide the rights and wrongs of this. We have a justice system that does that, and a Republican FBI director did an investigation and concluded.
All right, we are moving on now.
I think Pence gets a point for that.
100,000
He
Okay.
won't. He'll talk. He's talking over them.
Absolutely false, and
And
you know that, Governor.
Governor.
It's absolutely true.
Because the
Gentlemen,
FBI
please.
did an investigation.
Gentlemen,
And they concluded that there was
Senator?
no
Pence
reasonable
won't let
prosecutor
this
who
go,
would take it
and
further.
Senator
the
Kaine,
thing
Governor
is,
Pence, please.
he's.
So I want
He
to
got a
turn now
point
to
for that
Syria.
because
250,000
that's what the Trump
people,
base
100,000
wants to hear
of them
from him.
children,
They want to hear him really nail the Clinton campaign to the wall on that. He might not pick up a bunch of neutrals from that, but he's going to keep his own base strong by saying that. So that gets him a point.
Prevent mass casualties on this scale, Governor Pence.
The score is Kaine 5, Pence 3.
To begin to exercise
Moderator -1.
Yeah, moderator -1.
to protect the vulnerable citizens and over 100,000 children in Aleppo. Hillary Clinton's top priority when she became Secretary of State was the Russian reset. The Russian reset. After Russian reset, the Russians invaded Ukraine and took over.
No,
what is
it was
what?
no. Stop bringing this thing up. Russia. No, here's the thing I can't stand about the neocons. The people of Crimea voted in a democratic referendum to join Russia because the people of Crimea are mostly Russians.
While Vladimir Putin puts a missile defense system in Syria while he marshals the forces.
I find that whole situation very confusing. What I hear is that wasn't actually a free election. That's what I hear. I don't know whether that's true or not.
From who? Who told you that?
Neocons, I know.
Yeah.
Neocon people say that wasn't really.
The thing is, I feel
there's a lot of Cold War paranoia still lingering.
Even though the fact is the roles are basically reversed right now, with Russia being the conservative Christian country.
But about Aleppo and about Syria.
Yeah, Russia confuses me now.
All right, that's been said by every world leader since Russia existed. Napoleon probably said the same thing.
We know who the czars were, and secondly, we knew who the czars were, and we knew who the commies were. But who the hell are these new people?
Autocrats. They're oligarchs. They're oligarchs. Russia is basically ruled by a bunch of gigantic Russian billionaires and Putin. And the Orthodox.
Putin does seem to know how to look awesome on the internet all the time.
To prevent them from this humanitarian.
I mean, that whole like a boss.
I mean, I almost feel like I think we may have talked about this before, but I kind of feel like Alexander Solzhenitsyn, where he was a Russian and he loved his home country of Russia, but he wanted it to do badly on the world stage while it was the Soviet Union, so he kind of supported the United States during that, and I kind of feel like the same way. I love America, but I don't want us to continue doing what we're doing.
A strong American president.
Senator
Hillary and I also agree that the establishment of a humanitarian zone in northern Syria with the provision of international human aid consistent with UN Security Council resolution that was passed in February 2014 would be a very good idea.
The UN is such a
Hillary
joke.
also has the ability to stand up
The thing is,
Russia
and that's the only thing that's holding me back from being really terrified of them is because a lot of what they say, a lot of their things they say are disgusting and
a
terrible.
lot of things they say are just
But the thing is, they have no
ominous,
power.
they
have absolutely no power. Like they literally have I tweeted this out. Is apparently any country that has laws that restrict abortion are violating human rights.
Than President Obama.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin's
The UN.
Fuck you. UN. I'm sorry.
Yeah, try to keep the language.
Yeah, the UN is. I mean, the UN is saying that killing unborn children is okay. So.
Then you got to go back to a 5th grade civics.
The UN.
I tell you what offends me.
The UN. Oh, who's this? Is that the distributist?
Yep. How's it going, guys?
How's it going? We're watching basically who should have been, who would be the presidential candidates in days gone by. Two boring old white guys.
The Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Probably didn't pay taxes for
Is this boring as all that? Where's the link to the thing?
Fritz, copy and paste the link for distributist.
Sure. 1 sec.
The score is Kaine 5, Pence 3, moderator -1. I reversed the moderator's score, so the moderator now gets negative points instead of positive points for the same stuff the candidates would get those points for.
So Data, you're getting a lot of new subscribers recently.
God, the whiteness, it's insane.
So what do you mean?
Look at Mike Pence's.
Oh. He's got the Anderson Cooper type of thing.
Yeah, good lord.
Not support teachers.
Yeah, the senpai noticed me effect thing, you know. It happens, you know, every now and again.
And I think it's kind of spilled over to other channels because I'm getting a few new ones, and so has Ben.
Yeah, hopefully we'll keep the momentum going here.
I've been trying to think about like what I should make for my next video because I was working on one responding to
Christopher Hitchens thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do because I was working on one up on the Christy Winters BuzzFeed parody video, but I'm thinking I'm not the people she's talking to, you know.
Yeah, that's my problem with it too. There are about 3 questions that really applied to me.
Yeah, I'm not Sargon. I'm not.
Well, hold on, we should close this later. Obviously, the debate's going on.
Oh well, no, I mean,
we don't care.
it's very boring.
Yeah, we're talking about whatever. WikiLeaks,
okay.
UN, Russia,
yeah.
whatever.
The truth of the matter is the weak and
I thought who said this was the Thrilla and Vanilla? I think it was Greg Gutfeld or something like that.
Vanilla.
Greg Gutfeld.
That's exactly what this is.
And all the while, all we do is fold our arms and say we're.
Have you ever heard that? He's a really funny guy. If you ever get his audiobook, Bible of Unspeakable Truths.
By who?
By Greg Gutfeld. The guy did die.
No, he is pretty funny.
And act now to get people out of harm's way.
And exactly how.
Yeah, you know, I am so glad. I do have to say this.
Wait, what's the moderator saying?
Safe zones would have to be.
Well, he asked she asked a follow-up question.
There's already a framework for this that's been recognized by the international community. But the United States of America needs to be prepared.
I need a good nickname for Pence. Citizen Kane is the obvious nickname for Tim Kaine,
passage, and then to protect people in those areas.
A trumpence.
With a no-fly zone.
A trumpet.
But look, this is very tough stuff. I served on the Foreign Affairs
Pounds and
Committee
pence
for a decade. I traveled in and out of that
Something to
region
do
for
with
10
money
years.
would be a funny.
I saw what the American soldier won in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and to see,
you know, I do have to say I'm kind of glad I found a traditionalist, more religious community in this because I was cringing when I'm watching some of the stuff by Sargon, like when he was interviewing the guy that was yelled at by
that we stopped the nuclear weapons program.
Melissa Click, the guy, the press guy that she told to get out.
Oh yeah.
Sargon interviewed the guy, and of course in the background you see in the guy's dorm room is a imagine no religion pro-atheism poster. I'm like, oh god.
No, it's common college student stuff.
I know, but it's just I'm sick of the intellectual diversity of the anti-SJWs being completely full of left-wing liberal atheists.
He said the problem.
I think I've said this before, but I think that this atheism movement's on the way out.
I know that
it's on the way out.
And I think that's who Governor Pence is.
Yeah, I like that. Fencing Pence.
We need Christian YouTubers. Oh wait, it's YouTubers. Right. I thought he was calling us tubers.
I'm fine with that. I love mushrooms.
That's from the chat, by the way.
That's what
Ronald Reagan also said.
I have the chat up here live.
War should never be fought because it can never be won.
Oh, George Soros got to them.
The United States of America
can't get interested in these people.
Yeah, this one's not going to be as watched by anyone.
But I said towards the beginning that I think these I guess in other time, in another election, I would be more than happy. I actually kind of miss this type of election, just two very boring, bland people in a very boring campaign.
If it was like this, it would be out the issues.
The thing is, I would vote in an election like that.
I would too.
I'm not voting in this nonsense.
I visited him.
Boycotted the speech.
I have thought of eventually at some point, maybe if when I if I live in a town or someplace, run for a very local small office, just run as an independent, be like some town clerk or something.
And Democrat members to move forward the toughest sanctions.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will make a video about how people should join the Republican Party after the election when Trump loses, inevitably.
Well, no, we need to start the Whig Party up again.
You like the Whigs? Your historical preferences are just not in line with mine, man.
They were the party that was before the Democrats and the Republicans.
Well, I understand that.
I thought you meant the
but they also
pond Whigs.
Well, we don't have to adopt their politics.
They were like it's the current years of the 19th century.
Oh, they were the cucks of the.
They're like, It's
And in all 6 cases, he's
1826.
refused to
Why
defend
is
the
slavery
rights.
still a thing?
All right.
Yeah. Well, were they? I can't remember if they were.
No, they were
so-
anti-slavery.
Everybody to vote
Well, yeah, like
for
relatively,
somebody
not as
that
much as
he
the
cannot
Republicans
defend.
were, though.
And I just think that should be underlined.
All right,
Yeah, I would totally have been a Lincoln man myself.
I think we all would have, right?
NBC just cut out on me.
No, it's fine for me.
It's back.
Yeah, just refresh it.
It's back.
I'll take them one at a time.
More nations should get nuclear weapons.
Oh, it's getting too heated. The lady needs to calm it down.
Absolutely decided. Saudi Arabia, South Korea.
Who's winning in this? I'm confused.
No, nobody.
Yeah,
Putin and George Soros and the New World Order.
the
Oh yeah, data. Yeah, the
NBC
whole.
is back.
I say that.
but they downgraded my quality to
You
the
gotta be tough
lowest
on
quality.
Russia. So let's start with not praising Vladimir Putin as a great leader.
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can upgrade myself.
But data,
again.
yeah. Did you hear about the WikiLeaks thing that happened last night?
No, not really. What happened?
For months it was kind of rumored that they're, when they really do a press release, they're going to do something big on Clinton, and it was very strongly kind of hinted at that during this press release with WikiLeaks and Assange last night. He was going to, both do something about the 10th year anniversary of WikiLeaks and say something about Clinton, and he basically said nothing and tried to was advertising his book, and everyone got furious at him for making everyone in America wait until 4 a.m. to say nothing. Alex Jones was livid.
Wow.
I've never actually tuned in for an entire episode of Alex Jones.
I can't watch it because it's oh god, now it makes young.
I don't know why I'd want to watch it.
I mean, he's the thing I can't stand is the hypocrisy.
Just to know what's out there, just to know what's influencing people,
Well, I don't want to know what's influencing Alex Jones.
No, I mean, Alex Jones is influencing people. That makes him relevant.
Is he that popular, though?
He's got over 1 million subscribers on his channel, so...
Yeah, the problem is I don't know anybody who likes Alex Jones, so I've never had to wonder what they were thinking. I know he does. The problem is I just don't run into them, so I'm not so sure.
Yeah, they're in their basement, surrounded by their stacks of weapons and Ron Paul campaign literature.
I mean, they're against the New World Order, right? But I mean, the thing is, with him, and the thing I can't stand is if the hypocrisy that would have happened if Assange had said something devastating about Clinton. It's because it showed beforehand all they at the press conference running footage of people like Newt Gingrich and
I'm just saying facts about your and I know you
I'm happy
to give Pence a point.
in my mouth that I'm not defending him.
But anyways, with Newt Gingrich or Rush Limbaugh saying we should kill Assange, we should drone strike him, we should kill him, and then I absolutely knew if he had said something devastating about Clinton, they'd all go, he's a hero, and you had to beforehand. Alex Jones going, I'm pretty sure he's going to release something about Clinton. It's going to be devastating. Afterwards, goes, I knew this wasn't going to happen anyway. That's what I can't stand is the kind of hypocrisy and kind of back walking.
Oh man.
Russian soldiers.
Yeah, I was kind of.
And then they moved all the way into Crimea, took over the Crimean Peninsula.
Didn't Hitler say that? Isn't that how World War II started with German soldiers dressing up as Polish soldiers and saying the Polish attacked Germany?
Yeah, I've heard. I own. Maybe that's an apocryphal story.
It is known, Khaleesi.
Yeah, I've certainly heard that story.
So, I wonder if I could cut this up digitally and turn it into a rap battle. Would that
make it tough, man?
Would that make it more interesting?
No. Did anyone ever look less like they're rapping than these two guys?
That's what would make it funny. See,
Syria is
I am starting to get worried about. I
could sample "Hail to the Chief" to make the beat for that.
Well, no, you have to do "Hail Columbia" because that's the vice presidential march.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was our first national anthem. That one was a good one.
Senator Kaine still sits here.
But anyways, I think I know get what you want, what you're thinking when you say that Clinton winning is actually the better outcome because Because essentially, when she wins, you know, the government, education, and the media will all be in the complete control of the progressives. I mean, they already are, but it'll be completely known.
Explicit.
Yeah,
it'll have to be explicit. The narrative that somehow progressives are not in power will not fit so well. And I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Obama being president, and that, you know, you never seem to get that to work.
Yeah, but
Obama's
Hillary's going to be a massively unpopular president, unlike Obama.
They're not going to build statues of her with little pigeons or something. They're not going to think he's like like Obama, where he was like the second coming of Jesus.
Yeah,
know,
why?
Right? Obama, Jesus was crazy.
But I mean, the thing is, you know, I think the worrying thing is that essentially what we're going to have in the coming years within a Hillary presidencies, they might just start openly just kind of defying liberal principles and just saying, you know, because they don't really, because, you know, what is anybody going to do about it? They have all the power. They can do whatever they want.
Oh, hey, there's a new thing coming out from WikiLeaks. It's saying what happened last night was that their source material that they got sent to release about Hillary Clinton got eaten by Pepe.
Putin is a better leader than President Biden.
You have me going there for a while, but
inaccurate. And I just think
I still think I have the best case against Hillary Clinton. I'm not voting for a candidate who declared war on a cartoon frog.
If you mistake leadership for dictatorship and you can't tell the difference, a country that's running its economy.
Yeah, here we go. This is the grade school thing again. Right.
If you can't tell the difference, you shouldn't be commander in chief.
Yeah.
And with Donald Trump's son,
frog-splaining,
they have all these business dealings with Russia.
Don't mansplain to me.
Disclosed with tax returns, but they refuse to do them.
But I mean, the thing is, you know, Clinton, they're going to be able to do anything they want.
Well, they only have 15 minutes left.
Senator
well, that was
Kaine,
short.
what went wrong with the Russian
Yeah, it's only 90 minutes.
But yeah, what I was going to say, Data, is, you know, the progressives are going to be able to do whatever they want.
Wait, what does he think about Putin?
I don't know.
He's not a leader.
Putin's a dictator, he says.
The progressives are doing what they want right now.
Yes, but the thing is, they'll have complete control when Hillary wins.
John McCain said, I look at his eyes and I
yeah, I mean, they'll make a move for the fifth estate, essentially, even more than they have it right now.
And the thing is, people are going to be increasing. I think the scary thing is people are going to increasingly kind of understand that they're basically trying to enact change through the normal means of voting and, you know, stuff like that. It's not going to work. That effectively, the government does not care about their rights.
Yeah,
and that's when you're going to start getting, I don't know, you know, this is the LARP part of it, but, you know, you might start getting people grumbling about armed resistance, but
I'm sure people will grumble about it.
So at this point we have
just
under 15 minutes left, and the score is Kaine 5, Pence 4, moderator -1.
And wine drunk. No.
And that -1 is actually a really good score. You know, like that last guy was -9. You know, she's only -1.
We count moderators. We count moderator scores like we count golf scores. You know.
And that's except that I changed it to be a negative number because that sounds bad. But still, it's the same.
Should we listen to them and their last parts, or?
Well, I want to finish this out, but I was just going to say the moderator's done really well, relatively speaking.
The denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, plain and simple. And when Donald Trump is president of the United States, we're not going to have the kind of
debates don't always have a clear winner or loser.
Crimea and Ukraine.
We had one on Monday
when
new islands in Clinton
the South
versus
China
Trump. Clinton won,
literally
but
the world, including North Korea,
they don't always have that.
Power. We're going to go back to the days of peace through strength. But I have to tell you that
peace through strength. That's a Reagan reference.
And I get it.
The Republican base that is skeptical of Trump will like that line. But I think he gets a point for that.
Hillary Clinton and her husband set up a private foundation called the Clinton Foundation. While she was Secretary of State, the Clinton Foundation accepted tens of millions of dollars from foreign governments and foreign donors.
Ooh.
Now y'all need to know out there, this is basic stuff.
Should he get another point for that?
Nah, I just gave him a point. It was a kind of a weak point. I think this just shored up having that point.
They cannot make financial contributions. But the Clintons figured out a way to create a foundation where foreign governments and foreign donors could donate millions of dollars.
Hate crimes of Russophobia for the last half
hour.
hour.
Associated Press, that more than half of her private meetings when she was
hasn't
Secretary
said
of
whether
State
he thinks
were
Putin
given
is a
to
dictator
major
or
donors
not.
of the Clinton Foundation. When you talk about
What I'm wondering is he like the Stalin dictator, or is he like the Cincinnatus dictator?
The what?
The Cincinnatus dictator.
Who was that?
You're the history.
Is a dictator that
You're the history major. You don't know who Cincinnatus was?
He's the one who gave up his power afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember. Well, no, Putin is he's not the he's the Pinochet type-esque dictator.
Okay, now I'm not a history major, so I have an excuse to not know
Pinochet was
that
the base leader of Chile from in the 80s.
Okay.
He's the one who completely outlawed abortion in the country and threw communists out of helicopters.
Really?
Yeah, there's a little meme where it shows a little guy in a it's like a "That's where you're wrong, kiddo" meme, and it shows like somebody going, "Pinochet, you can't throw communists out of helicopters. That's where you're wrong, kiddo."
So the foundation does good work.
Wow.
And Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State.
If you actually look up a picture, look up right now a picture of the Chilean army, and tell me it doesn't look.
Kaine is saying Clinton didn't do nothing.
She had Skittles and was a good girl.
The Clinton Foundation does good things.
Oh, tentacles! He's got the anime vote.
He's refused to.
What? Did he say tentacles?
Yes.
Has a lot of
all right, so right now,
Hillary
look up the
Clinton tentacle porn. This is not
if
where I
you're interested
expected tonight's debate to go. I have to say.
look up a picture of the Chilean army on Google Image, and the first image. Actually, I'll just send it to you right now.
No, you will not, because I have my screen is showing the debate for the people watching it.
But anyways, yeah, the Chilean army official uniform, the helmet they wear, is the one that the Germans wore in World War II.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the picture, it literally looks like a picture from World War II. You know, the guys in the Stahlhelm marching.
This is the difference between a foundation that does good work and a Secretary of State who acted in accord with American interests, and somebody who is conflicted in doing work around the world and won't share with the American public what he's doing and what those conflicts are.
Governor, I will give you 30 seconds.
Does he get a point for that?
I know you want to, but again,
I don't know.
This was about North Korea.
Let's see if the response is good.
Thank you. The Trump Foundation is a private family foundation. They give virtually every cent in the Trump Foundation to charitable causes. Less than 10 cents on the dollar in the Clinton Foundation has gone to charitable causes.
$20,000 portrait of Donald Trump?
Less than 10 cents on the dollar the Clinton Foundation has gone to charitable causes.
90%.
It has been a platform for the Clintons to travel the world.
This is like watching the Muppet Show.
Staff. But honestly, Senator, we would know a lot more about it if you over the 23,000 emails that she refused to turn over
Senator Kaine,
in her private server. We'd have a much better picture of what the Clinton Foundation was doing.
Senator Kaine,
Does Pence get a point for that?
To launch a missile, a nuclear-armed missile capable of reaching
Senator Kaine, if you had intelligence.
I don't know. I mean, they were going back and forth on that. You know, it was kind of.
All right, fine. Now, how about Tim Kaine doesn't get a point?
I think we need to fact check that.
President has to do that.
Well, these are Machiavelli points. The facts don't matter to the points.
No, I was saying about whether he had intelligence.
You asked the question about how do we deal with North Korea. I'm on the Foreign Relations Committee. We just did an extensive sanctions package against North Korea.
Someone in the chat is pointing out that abortion's not illegal in Russia.
Virtually the same package.
It will be. They're trying to implement a lot more strict restrictions on it.
It's not only not legal; it's heavily utilized.
So they actually supported the sanctions.
Yeah,
so they legalized it in
chat
Russia.
Are paying a lot more attention to what we're saying than anything about the election.
Well, that's because I'm sorry, guys. I knew I shouldn't have come, but
well, no,
you shouldn't have come here.
I think people are just this too much boring.
I think that's great. We're making it interesting.
I know for a fact that neither Trump nor Hillary respects or listens to a word these two people say. They're just safe picks.
Yeah, they're both safe.
They're good appeals to they're appeals to moderates in the base.
Yeah, they're just like a callback to a more moderate age. But they've got nothing to do. They don't have the candidates' ears. I mean, a better thing would be to have like Huma Abedin and Ivanka Trump debate. I mean, those candidates actually listen to.
That'd be awesome.
That would be a cat fight. That would be a cat fight, and millions of people
that would be pretty amazing. To tell the truth.
Okay, the chat says, "What work does the Clinton Foundation do? Hiring interns."
Oh, they're going to talk about religion. They're going to talk about religion.
And a public policy position, Senator Kaine.
You just ruined my punchline.
Okay, let's see if the guy automatically excommunicates himself.
I'm a Catholic.
I was Catholic parents. My mom and dad are sitting right here. I was educated by Jesuits at Rockhurst High School in Kansas City. My 40th reunions in town.
Oh, that's the first mistake.
He said Jesuits.
In Honduras.
I know, that's the first mistake.
Nearly 35 years ago, and they were the heroes of my life. I try to practice my religion
very
in a very devout way and
Catholic.
follow the teachings of my church in my own personal life. But I don't believe in this nation, a First Amendment nation, where we don't raise any religion over the other, and we allow people to worship as they please, that the doctrines of any one religion should be mandated for everyone. For me, the hardest struggle in my faith life was Catholic churches against the death penalty, and so am I. But I was governor of a state.
Yeah, you don't get automatically excommunicated for that,
There
though.
was a death penalty for crimes if the jury determined them to be heinous.
See, I'm not a Catholic.
So
I don't know all
had
this inside
to grapple
baseball
with
stuff.
that. When I was running for governor, I was
You
attacked
cannot
pretty
publicly
strongly
advocate
because of my position on
abortion.
the death penalty, but
Yeah.
And remain part
And
of
you
the
can't
church.
call up. You can't say that you want the Catholic Church to change its position on homosexuality.
Well,
What
no, it's
about the
different.
death penalty?
No, guys, let me. There are specific things that the church has laid out as automatic acts of excommunication that do not need to have a bishop or some higher up in the church actually excommunicate you. And some of those things are like, say, appointing bishops, right? Actively promoting a schism. And another one of those things is advocating abortion.
So, Tim Kaine, I'm super religious, but I'm never religious when
But
I'm
only when
doing
it interferes with my politics.
Yeah.
I want to listen to. I think he calls himself an evangelical Catholic.
No, Chris, evangelical Christian. He's a Protestant.
Church on Sunday morning and grace before dinner, but my Christian faith became real for me when I made a personal decision for Christ. When I was a freshman.
Personal decision for Christ. Yeah, I told you he was a Protestant.
Live that out, however.
Yeah, I've heard people call themselves evangelical Catholics, though. They're just people who are Catholics who believe they've got like a personal relationship with Jesus, which isn't
that the point of all Christians?
With the values.
You don't need to have a personal relationship with Jesus in order to be saved in the Catholic Church. It's nice, I guess.
And I have a great deal of respect for Senator Kaine's sincere faith. I truly do.
Well, I don't.
But for me, I would tell you that for me, the sanctity of life.
The thing that Kaine didn't talk about.
She's talking about abortion.
That,
obviously.
Where God says, before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. And so for my first time in public life, I've sought to stand with great compassion for the sanctity of life. The state of Indiana has also sought to make sure that we expand alternatives in healthcare counseling for women, non-abortion alternatives. I'm also very pleased the fact we're well on our way in Indiana to becoming the most pro-adoption state in America. I think if you're going to be pro-life, you should be pro-adoption. But what I can't understand is with Hillary Clinton and now Senator Kaine at her side is to support a practice like partial
VPs are
abortion.
utterly useless.
I mean, to hold to the view, and I know Senator Kaine, you hold pro-life views personally, but the very idea that
no one holds pro-life views only personally. That's not what being pro-life means.
Have their life taken from them is just anathema to me, and I can't conscience about a party that supports that, or that I know you've historically opposed taxpayer funding of abortion. But Hillary Clinton wants to repeal the long-standing provision in the law where we said we wouldn't use taxpayer dollars to fund abortion. So for me,
yeah, that's a good point. The Hyde Amendment.
I try and spend a little time on
Make this about the Hyde Amendment. Come on, let's have this. This is an actually interesting debate.
Cherishing the dignity, the worth, the value of every
everybody knew.
Just, he's not bringing up how super pro-life Trump is, though, because Trump hasn't been.
No, but this is important. The Hyde Amendment.
I want to listen to this. Methodist church experience was really formative for her as a public servant. But we really feel like you should live.
And it shows.
I know.
You should always live as an atheist.
Presbyterians have a deep animosity of Methodists.
That for everybody else. So let's talk about abortion and choice.
Why?
Let's talk about.
I don't know. It's more of a joke.
Oh.
We support Roe versus Wade. We support the constitutional right of American women to consult their own conscience, their own supportive partner.
That's transphobic, you shitlord.
About pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's something
we support American women killing as many babies as possible.
That women should be punished, as Donald Trump said they should, for making the decision to have an abortion. Governor Pence
yeah,
wants
that thing Trump said does show how little he understands pro-life philosophy.
There's some young people in the audience who weren't even born when Roe was decided. This is pretty important. Before Roe versus Wade,
I'm less interested in that, I guess.
Passed criminal laws to do just that, to punish women if they made the choice to terminate a pregnancy.
Kill babies.
I think you should live your moral values. But the last
no, you don't.
The very last thing that government should do is have laws that would punish women who make reproductive choices. And that is the fundamental...
Not protect people's life.
How did he get around talking about removing the Hyde Amendment?
To punish women who make that choice.
Like, didn't
well,
Mike Pence
I think they completely filled up his slime tank at the beginning of this, and so he was able to excrete a sufficient amount of slime to slime his way around that.
Is Mike Pence holding him to it?
And Hillary Clinton. And so, you know,
I would
don't
admit
always
that's not
come out exactly the way he means them, but I'm telling you what other
and me.
Great line from the Gospel of Matthew. From the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump says women should be punished, or Mexicans are rapists and criminals,
I'm telling
or John McCain's not a hero, he is showing you who he is.
Senator, you whipped out that Mexican
That's a
thing
point
again.
for Kaine.
Look.
Can you defend it?
There are criminal aliens in this country, Tim.
I want to take that out of context so badly.
Who are perpetrating violence and taking American lives.
Oh, man.
He also said,
no, bring up abortion, you idiot.
People, you keep leaving that out of your quote, and if you want me to go there, I'll go there. But there is a choice here, and it is a choice on life. I couldn't be more proud to be standing with Donald Trump, who's standing for the right to life. It's a principle
no, he's not.
Senator Kaine, and I'm very gentle about this because I really do respect you. It's a principle that you embrace, and I've appreciated.
Oh God, is there ever a more boring debate line than that?
Use of taxpayer funding for abortion in the past, but that's not Hillary Clinton.
We don't want respect. We want blood.
Are you not entertained?
More and more young people
dance monkeys.
No,
the monkeys are the celebrities.
Yeah, what are these guys then?
We can, like Mother Teresa said at that famous National Prayer Breakfast,
puppets, robots.
Let's welcome the children into our world. There are so many families around the country who can't have children. We could improve the options so that families that can't have children can adopt more readily those children.
You trust women to make pregnancy.
No, he's trying to build the adoption narrative here.
We can encourage people to support life. Of course we can.
I don't know why he walked.
We can encourage people to support life, except that's not what Planned Parenthood ever does.
Make this choice for themselves.
Because they do because they kill their babies. Because we have the sexual revolution.
With enthusiasm and excitement, convincing each other, dialoguing with each other about important moral issues of the day. But on fundamental issues of morality, we should let women make their own decisions.
Fundamental issues of morality, except you don't really do that on any other fundamental issue of morality, do you?
Let thieves make the choice to not steal.
Let rapists make the choice to rape or not rape.
I think when it comes to, I think that just the word, I mean, this is just narrative packing, you know, it's not.
Going to do to unify the country and reassure the people who voted against you?
That's a really important one. That may be the $64,000 question because
Rosebud.
And again, Hillary's running a campaign about stronger together, and Donald Trump. And this is not directed at this man, except to the extent that he can't defend Donald Trump.
Guy.
Donald Trump has run
After the basket of deplorables comment, he's going to say Hillary's bringing people together.
So here's what we'll do.
Pence is going to be able to nail him to the wall on this one.
Senator for 8 years and Secretary of State.
I bet he won't.
And I'm really amazed, Elaine.
He can. Let's just see if he does.
The First Lady, all right, the First Lady is not experienced. You know, nobody. If it was,
well, you know how incredibly close
the Clintons were. Bill Clinton and Melania Trump would be on a stage debating.
You know how well we all know how incredibly close the Clintons have always been.
Health benefits for the first responders who bravely went into the towers and into the Pentagon. She worked to get benefits for
and get us into Iraq
for National Guarders, including Hoosiers and Virginians in the National Guard. She has a track record of working across the aisle to make things happen. And you know, Elaine, I have the same track record. I was a governor of Virginia with 2 Republican houses. And in the Senate, I have good working relationships across the aisle. Because, I think it's fine to be a Democrat or Republican or independent, but after Election Day, the goal is work together. And Hillary Clinton has a track record of accomplishment across the aisle that will enable.
We all have to be Democrats now.
When we work with the
they're going over time.
Governor, how will you unify the country if you win?
Well, thank you.
90 minutes. They started at 8 o'clock.
Absolutely.
It's 9:34 now.
This is a very challenging time.
The advertisers don't like this.
Weakened America's place in the world after the leadership of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama on the world stage has been followed by an economy that is truly struggling, stifled by an avalanche of more taxes, more regulation, Obamacare, the war on coal, and the kind of trade deals that have put American workers in the back seat.
I'm tempted to take a point away from Pence for not talking about
don't do
the basket of deplorables thing.
He did bring it up at one point.
That was a lot earlier. He should have brought it up again now.
Don't take away a point for that.
Maybe not. He's still behind a point.
To really change the direction of this country, but it's going to take leadership to do it. The American people want to see our nation standing tall on the world stage again. They want to see us supporting
Hillary's experience. She experienced Bill's extracurricular activities.
They want to see the American economy off to
She experienced having to raise her husband's illegitimate son.
Building. It's going through hardship just like a business person does, and finding.
I don't know if Hillary ever actually did very much actual child raising.
To fight forward and
I don't know.
I
mean, Chelsea Clinton, I'm pretty sure she had a governess or whatever you call it, child raising expert person.
She had the black maid from the old South raising her. She had Aunt Jemima raise her.
And when that happens, the American
people I expect she probably had
stand together, and we'll have the kind of unity.
The Clintons are super rich, so I expect she probably had.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
No, she's the middle class. She's part of us.
My thanks to the candidates, the commission,
and to you. She's closing it down because they're going over time.
Is anybody in the audience actually still awake, or?
And the final debate on October 19th.
I'm losing it.
No, I'm going to try to say her name. Her name is Elaine Qujano, right?
Of CBS News. Good night.
From Fabulous.
And they're shaking hands. Neither of them had an electric buzzer.
Just kiss already.
In a spirited exchange at times, seated unlike
a spirited exchange. Well, I guess they had a few moments of that. I mean, there was the Manamana moment.
Holt in New York,
well, that was us, though.
Senator Kaine, if you will.
Well, that
Lester Holt. Why is he talking?
Certainly Mike Pence seemed to be sticking more to policy
because he's a news anchor.
I'm here with Savannah Guthrie, Tom Brokaw, Chuck Todd. And Nicole Wallace joins us now.
So what's the final score?
Okay, let me close this thing down. Okay, the final score was Citizen Kaine 6, Mike Trumpets 5, and the moderator only has -1.
So much better.
And the spirit of unending monotony 15.
You know what? I should have added that as a point.
And you should have added us. I think we do have much higher scores because we're so much better.
Well, the trouble is if I add too many, I won't have enough room on the screen. And it might get too complicated. But I think I'm gonna keep. I need better software. Just generally better software. If anyone actually has any suggestions about ways I could improve my streaming stuff so that I can show the chat and show a scoreboard and show the live event all on the same screen without all this other GUI junk getting in the way, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, the moderator did much better this time than that moderator last time. She nobody's perfect, so getting a 0 score for me might be a little too difficult, but all things considered, she did very well, I have to say. She only sucked up to the Democrats once. So
when she's talking about, oh, well, I feel bad when I'm a black person walking around.
Spirited equals has a pulse. Yeah, the -1 was for the Black Lives Matter propaganda break we had in the middle of things. So, a wet nurse. That's what somebody said. Somebody said raised Chelsea Clinton. The one from Atlas Shrugged. Anyway, final thoughts, gentlemen.
It was boring, I guess. I mean, again, I am kind of yearning for. I am kind of looking back on this type of presidential debate with kind of fondness of just kind of two old white guys just talking about actual policy instead of the sideshow, the circus it's been.
This kind of reminds me of my problems with some of these more mainstream publications like the Weekly Standard or Ricochet. I used to be kind of into them, but now I can't. They're just this boring. These are mainstream Republican publications.
The Ricochet is? I didn't read that one.
Well, it's sort of a membership service for people who are. It's mostly for people who are in like areas like Seattle and San Francisco where you have to actually know
it's a local
Republicans
paper.
or conservative. It's not local. It's run by the National Review people, but that's not really my point.
Oh.
My point was just I used to kind of use them kind of like, to kind of see what people were saying in the conservative movement, but now they're just utterly boring because they're sitting on the sidelines complaining about Trump, totally unable to influence policy. Like, I don't believe that like these moderate positions or anything that I could build a coalition around. I don't believe these people will ever take power, and I don't believe people of this temperament will ever be in power again. So I'm wondering why I should even be listening to them at the end of the day.
I don't know. If Trump loses, then they might have another shot.
I doubt it. You think that Trump isn't coming back after Trump?
I think that's the interesting thing is, all right, if Trump loses, what do you think the Republican Party will look like? Do you think they'll go, all right, we should go back to, more basic kind of fusionist conservatism? We should
No,
obviously
they're not.
Why?
Because I think it'll be obvious that they don't have a winning coalition of fusionists. That's the thing, right? Like, Mitt Romney sort of prefaced this, but there's this. The fusionist coalition doesn't have a large enough demographic to ever win a presidential campaign again, because of immigration, because of how young people tend to vote, and
because of secularization.
Well, hang on though.
Secularization is not really. I don't know, but that's.
Hang on though. The elections are still decided by more by political donors than by
no, they're not.
These ordinary people.
No, I don't believe so.
I think you could make almost anyone look hip and cool if you spend enough money.
No, but people haven't. People, but look, but Ben, the people with the most money haven't been winning primaries or major elections. It's gone against. That has frequently occurred where the person with the most money has lost.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
All right.
That's what I hear.
There's not.
See, I took philosophy, not political science, so I don't always know that.
Okay. I'm just saying. I don't think there's evidence that first of all, hip and cool isn't what wins elections. It's just having a demographic that never votes Republican and having that demographic, expand by 5% in 4 years. That's, I mean, presidential elections are won by margins of like 2, 3, 4, 5 percentage points. These are the the demographics have changed in the last 10 years. I don't think there's a fusionist coalition that can ever win a presidency, and that being the case means that it's going to be questionable whether people will seek that alliance out in the future.
I mean, the thing is, though, and also I think it's because in the past 15 years, the war hawks, free markets and evangelical Christians have kind of, constantly shot themselves in the foot and delegitimize themselves.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. This is the thing. Like, the Democrats have this fundamental anti-fragility to themselves, where they just can't shoot themselves in the foot. It doesn't matter how many times the Democrats screw over the African American community; they'll keep on coming back.
And why do you think that is?
Well, there's sort of this anti-fragile mechanism that it's about. I don't think that it's about. I don't think there's something that the Republicans can do to lose pro-lifers. There's something that
there's one thing they can do, and that is nominate Donald Trump.
Well, they did, and they're still going to get a majority of the pro-life vote. And next 4 years,
I don't. Well, they're losing a huge chunk of the pro-life vote.
Sure,
Even if they still have the majority, they used to have the unanimous pro-life vote.
We're talking about long-term party prospects, not can they lose an election by doing something stupid.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is the Republicans used to be guaranteed unanimous pro-life vote. This time, no.
I agree. The Republicans can do something stupid, but that's not. The thing is that unanimous, okay, the Democrats can do something stupid. Like, Hillary couldn't get up there and just talk about the N-word, how the N-words are screwing up America, and she probably would seriously lose a lot of the African American vote. That's not the problem. The problem is that the African American vote is going to go 85% Democrat for the foreseeable future, and nothing's going to shake that. And the same thing is true for Asian and Hispanic populations from what we've seen. And that being the reality means that the Republican coalition might be just unelectable at a national scale.
I mean, so do you think the Republican Party is dead, or this iteration of it?
The Republican Party isn't dead. The coalition that fusionism represents is dead.
And so who do you think they might try and reach out, or what kind of coalition do you think they try and start trying to look for next time? Do you think they'd actually start going for...
I don't actually know. I think it depends on the Democrats screwing up somehow, which is why if Trump wins this election, it'll be a fluke, right? Because I don't think Trump has a winning coalition behind him, right? Hillary will have a winning coalition behind her. So if she wins and she screws up and breaks her coalition, then potentially the Republicans can put together a coalition that can rival the Democrats. But for the time being, the Trump coalition can't rule America. And if they win, it'll be total luck.
Should we wrap up the stream then, or?
Yeah.
Are we still live?
Yes, we are.
I think we can start
our final thoughts. Remember?
Yeah, and I think we can talk a little after this, though.
Sure.
Sure.
So I was going to say, I am super discouraged about the future of American politics and American political discourse.
As am I.
And I am a fusionist conservative, and I can't understand why so many people don't see who Trump is and what Trump means about the Republican Party and its future. How Trump is breaking up this coalition. But on the other hand, I don't see the alt-right taking over the Republican Party entirely. The alt-right has a much, 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 much bigger internet presence than it has actual grassroots support in the United States. And normies still don't know what the alt-right is. They first heard of it from Hillary Clinton in this election. So,
but that's the thing is, I'm not saying that the alt-right has a ruling coalition. I'm saying the Republicans don't have a ruling coalition.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'm just saying. So, the theory that the alt-right is going to take over the Republican Party, which isn't the distributist theory, it's just one I've heard some people espouse.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't think that's likely to happen, at least not this decade. But what some of what Trump has done has been pretending to be a fusionist. He's got the organization that promotes him is called Conservative Intel, for instance. I'm always getting emails from them, and it keeps getting described as a conservative, and he keeps quoting Reagan and keeps trying to do all this stuff that fusionists like to hear. And so there is still a lot of those people in the Republican Party. They aren't a huge demographic in the general population, but they are in the voting population. So those people aren't quite dead yet. Maybe someone who totally represents that view might have some problems getting elected, but it's still a major force, at least in Republican politics, and that isn't. So it's like Nietzsche's idea that God is dead. He wasn't saying all religion is going to be over tomorrow. What he's saying is
he's saying quite the opposite.
There's a shift happening, and here is the direction of the shift. And yes, Trump does represent a shift away from fusionism, and that's why I can't, in good conscience, support him on a fundamental level. So those are my final thoughts on. Oh yeah, and Kaine is a complete. Kaine is a complete insert insult here, and I can't think of an appropriate insult. He's a scumbag.
Boring.
He's a boring scumbag. And I say he's a scumbag not because of all the rest of the stuff he said, but because of his support for abortion. There's that really is deplorable.
Yes.
There's no excuse for that. I could excuse most of the rest of what the Democrats do. Stealing our money, okay, whatever. Being corrupt, okay, whatever. But
be honest,
the abortion issue is where I have to draw the line and say, no. There is a clear evil there, and so I did have to put that in. So it's evil versus Trump, and I'm not convinced that Trump is good. So evil versus sort of only
it's lawful. It's I don't know. Would it be lawful evil versus chaotic neutral?
Yes, that is exactly what this is. Lawful evil. That's the Clinton campaign versus chaotic neutral, which is the Trump campaign. And I
think to end this on, I love seeing this perfect meme where it was Jeb Bush going like really happy with his arms out, and it shows the actual campaign. It's Clinton, the campaign map where it's Clinton nothing, Trump nothing, Jeb Bush 583 or however he got all of them somehow. Well, if you're actually interested, Ben, there is a guy who's running as a conservative independent, Evan McMullen, he's a Latter-day Saint. So
maybe I will vote for him. I haven't heard of him.
He's like the fusionists, LARP project.
Okay, well, maybe I'll vote for him. I don't know. I do think that there's no third-party candidate that has a prayer. So
I hate Gary Johnson.
So I don't.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I would not vote third party as any sort of. It's only true that third parties don't win because you say it is. No, it actually is because of the math.
Yeah. And also, no, it's because we're a first past
Gary
system.
Johnson is a tool.
I can't support third parties because I'm not a math denialist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we live. All right, yeah, we have first past the post. It's not going to work.
Yeah, first past the post, therefore no third parties. It's that simple. Well, anyway, let's wrap this up. And I mean, as far as the broadcasting goes, and we can talk about more stuff after, off the air. But I was going to say real quick here, I should be live streaming again for the next presidential debate, and hopefully we can get there a little bit ahead of time. I'd actually like us to try and commentate the discussions about the rules that happen a few minutes before the debate.
It'll be hard because people have work and stuff that they're getting out of. Yeah. Oftentimes they get in a little bit late.
Yeah. Well, ideally, I'd like to see us do that, but I don't know if we'll manage it. But so that will be the next live stream. So please tune in, and until next time, our conspiracy to implant an evil, oppressive Christian theocracy that will dominate the world and put atheists into camps will continue. So,
all right, cheers, guys.
Good night.
See ya.